All right, y'all. I'm gonna try to get right back to it right where I left off. My camera battery died. I was trying to squeeze it into 15 minutes, but you know, the devil and obstacles is always in the way, but God always uses it for the better, because now I can lay a little bit more in it, and still, as we deal with the gate and Moses standing in the gate, which is powerful. So this is a continuation of part 9 of the sanctuary. In the gate, standing in the gate. So I'm gonna read back Exodus 32 verse 26, and the reason I chose this verse again, because it utilizes there is no coincidence with God. When I tell y'all the whole Bible is in the sanctuary language, when I first read this part of the story, I immediately thought of the gate in the sanctuary. Here, why does Moses choose to go stand in the gate when he says you have to pick whose side you're on? Why does he go stand in the gate when he chooses sides? There is no coincidence with God. But Exodus 32 verse 26 says, then Moses stood in the gate of the camp and said, who is on the Lord's side? Let him come unto me. And all the sons of Levi gathered themselves together unto him. So, like I said, the gate stands for separating from the world, and it also stands for making a choice, choosing whose side you're going to be on. Beloved, okay, now I'm going to pick back up right where I left off. You know, I was dealing with, talking about music and separating. Sometimes it's hard. Music is one of the biggest things that hinder a lot of people's Christian walk. Because you think, when you don't have that gate, when you don't know about the gate, you tend to think that you can come to the Father, you can come before the Father, but with all of the world in you. With all of the world, you didn't draw a dividing line between the unholy and the holy. And so you try to bring all the world in you up in here. Beloved, once you do that, once you have the world inside of you and you try to go and stand before the Father, you become an enemy of the Father. For God cannot dwell where there's unclean and profane things. And I'm talking to myself, beloved. Like I told y'all, music had a hold on me, like a serious hold. And at first, when I first came back into the church, sometimes, I call myself listening to positive hip hop, but it was crazy. But I could actually feel my emotions change and switch, from that of being in the presence of God. When I study and I'm talking to the Father, I can literally feel like, the presence of our Father, But when I start listening to certain music or watching certain things, I can feel the presence of God leave. Literally. And what is the verse? By beholding, we become changed. So can you behold both things? Can you behold holy things and behold things of the world? Which one are we going to change to? You can't behold both at the same time, thinking you're going to be closer to the Father. Thinking you're going to get closer to the Father. And beloved, I'm telling you, this is serious business, because we want Christ to grow inside of us, which we're going to deal with the altar of sacrifice. But we want Christ to grow inside of us. Can the Holy Spirit dwell? Now just say I'm taking in all kinds of things of the world. I'm not separating from the world, and I'm taking all this stuff in. Can God dwell where Satan dwells? This thought just now hit me. If I'm taking in all kinds of things of the world, and I really haven't caused a separating line in my life, then I become numb. That is why a lot of times we can become numb to certain sins and character traits, because we feasted on these things so much that our senses and our own mind becomes numb to how sinful they really are. And then so we end up not seeing how sinful we really are. Beloved, let me see if I can find this verse real quick. The Lord just asked me to find it, but it's where God asks the people. He's always asking us to come out from the world and be different. and be different. And be different. Look, right here. Exodus 19, verse 5. It says, now therefore, if ye will obey my voice indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar, which means special. You shall be a special treasure unto me above all people, for all the earth is mine. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. Now God says, let's read. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a special treasure unto me. Beloved, if you choose what's holy, if you choose at that gate, when you're at that gate, God is saying, if you make the right choice, if you separate from the world and all the trappings of the world, and which is hard, but it's a process, and you'll find out the more you try, the more you'll get stronger, and the more you'll sit back and looking like, wow, I used to do that. Sometimes I just look back like, wow, that used to be me. Man, you know, I can't believe I used to wear my pants like that. You know, and now it don't feel right. It don't feel right at all. But even the way I talk, I have to catch myself, watch the way I talk. And you have to be careful, beloved. I'm talking about our friends, our associations at work. The devil knows how to get the world inside of us, especially when he sees you trying. But the biggest thing, Lord just told me to reiterate this again. The biggest thing you want to watch out for is when you bring the world inside of you, when you're feasting on worldly things and you haven't caused that daily separation from the world. And say, I get on my knees. I've been listening to some rap music all day. You know, none of it, you know, even if somebody say, oh, it's glorifying God, but I've been listening, let's just say I've been listening to hip hop all day, you know, stuff I used to listen to before I got baptized, and then I get on my knees to pray, or bow my head to pray. I'm bringing, now all of this stuff is inside of me, you know, whatever we feast our eyes or ears on, they're there. Once it gets into your brain, it's etched. But I bring this stuff before God. I come before him a unholy sacrifice. There's a verse in Malachi. While I'm talking, I'm gonna turn to it. You know, if the Holy Spirit wants me to share it, I'll find it in time. But where he talks about, he says, how are you gonna offer these? How are you gonna offer these profane, lame sacrifices? Meaning, they're, you know, the sacrifice is supposed to be pure and clean of heart, but he's saying you're offering. You know, he's got mad at the priest. You're offering these lame sacrifices. The animals, you know, didn't walk right, and the animal was injured, and you had the priest still offering it to him. That's like me. If I got the world inside of me, and I come to God, here I am, God. You know, but I'm in God's eyes, I'm dirty and like just filthy. Now it's a difference. Don't get me wrong. It's a difference between being a sinner. Now I am filthy before God because I'm a sinner. But if you're striving. And you're striving to be pleasing to God, and you're separating from the world, beloved, you will actually start to look clean in the Father's eyes. Even though you still might have things in your character and sins that you wrestle with, because you're striving and he's starting to see his son inside of you, God will account Jesus' righteousness for your righteousness, and you'll appear clean before the Father. But this is that gate. But here it is. Malachi chapter 1 verse 6. Malachi chapter 1 verse. Now he's talking to the priests and how they haven't prepared the people at all. They're letting the people just live their life any type of way with no separation. And now the people are coming before God like, here I'm laying my life before you. And he's utilized it even in but the priests, it got so bad, the sacrifices in the sanctuary, like the lamb is supposed to be without blemish, spot, you know, supposed to be the best pick of the litter. But here they were bringing these lambs, like I said, with broke legs and scars on them. Malachi chapter 1 verse 6 says, a son honoreth his father, and a servant his master. If then I be a father, where is my honor? And if I be a master, where is my fear? Saith the Lord of hosts unto you, O priests that despise my name. He says, when you come to him and you haven't separated from the world as a lame sacrifice, he says, you despise. He says you despise me because we're causing him to have to flee away from us. But anyway, and ye say, wherein have we despised thy name? Verse 7. Ye offer polluted bread upon mine altar, and ye say, wherein have we polluted thee? In that ye say, the table of the Lord is contemptible, and ye offer the blind for sacrifice. Is it not evil? And ye offer the lame and the sick. Is it not evil? Offer it now unto thy governor. Will he be pleased with thee, or accept thy person? He said, you come to me as you are, but think about it. But when he said, but will you offer that to the governor? But if the president or some big celebrity was going to come around, you going to clean up, you going to get your act ready, you know, you going to talk proper. Yes, how you doing? You going to try to seem the best as you can be. But God is saying, but when you come before me, you just come before me like like you just could be coming in front of any little smojo out here on the street. God is saying, I'm God. Where is my honor? If I'm he who created the universe. God literally holds the earth in his hands, and he says, you gonna bring this lame sacrifice to me? And this is twofold, as he's talking to the priests who are bringing, like you say, a lamb that's blind. You know, the lamb is supposed to be pure, signifying Christ. But you bring this lamb that's blind and hurt before God. But that's signifying even the people. You know, here priests, and you got teachers and preachers who aren't really teaching the people how to separate from the world and teaching them the Bible truths that they can clean up their act and things of that nature. You know, you got certain pastors like Joel Osteen who's saying, you know, homosexuals can make it into heaven. You're offering lame sacrifices to God. Offering lame sacrifices to God. And what we're going to touch on the second part of this is where each piece of furniture is represented by an Old Testament patriarch. And this separation between good and evil, this separation between holy and unholy was shown. Let's read it. Genesis 3. In Genesis 3, verse 24, this was the first separating line on earth between holy and unholy, between good and evil. The first drawing line. And it was verse 24, Genesis 3, verse 24. So he drove out the man, and he placed at the east of the Garden of Eden cherubims and a flaming sword which turned every way to keep the way of the tree of life. This was the first line that was drawn. This was the first, you can't come in here because you're a sinner. See, beloved, when we sinned, it drew a wedge between us and God. Literally, it made us enemies of God. So when we seek the Father and we come to him and we get to that gate, we're saying, Lord, I'm willing to forsake everything that's in the world to come to you. I don't need any of this stuff. I don't want any of this stuff. All I want is you. Can I come to you? And he says, come. Come. And beloved, when you seek God, when you separate from the world and you truly seek God, it is then that the things that you truly were looking for, he'll give unto you. He'll give unto you. Beloved, it is deep. What did Joshua say? Choose you this day whom you will serve. Choose you